go live. It says we're live. Woo. Welcome everyone to a political recap stream here on the Moisky Live channel. I'm going to start by saying sorry that there hasn't been any content this week, but PMQs was utter tripe because Starmer's in quarantine. Joining me, as always, is my delicious co-host, Trupsy Wupsy. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups.
How is Trups?
Apparently, I'm delicious.
Always.
Mm.
How's your week been?
I have been navigating the buyer's market for a house, and I think that we are doing well on that front. I think we've got something locked down that we are going to be very content with in the future.
I'm glad that you're. I'm glad that that's working out for you, because honestly, you guys,
Yes.
you know, you deserve a nice house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. How about you? How have you been?
It's been a busy week. Few ups, few downs. Because more has unfolded when it came to Paracynical. I got noticed by Keemstar, who said I did no research in my videos. But based on his response to it and the video he commented on as well, which was about somebody, not understanding fundamental on Trapped. It was quite interesting. I've ended up privating those videos because the information that's come out just muddies everything too much now. I can't, in good conscience, hold aside while Paracynical says nothing. Something which I've addressed. It's been good though. Because
so
go on.
about the whole trap thing. I saw their post on Twitter, and it was basically a 15-year-old guy and a 25-year-old woman is not pedophilia. That was the first post.
Yep.
Okay. At that point, is there really much else context to add to that?
Beyond him trying to false equivalence it to other things concerning differing age gaps. No, not really. Just boomerangs away. Oh, he also said that men can't be victims of rape because they're stronger than women. It's physically
tell that to
impossible.
Terry Crews.
Tell that to a guy who had his ex-girlfriend put a gun to his head, unless he stuck his dick in her. Yeah. The videos are on BitChute.
Yep,
Liz, yes, I forgot about that. I'll deal with that later. Yeah, beyond that, that's pretty much it. He's on the wrong side of history. Let's go with that. But Ups hit 90k on YouTube on the main channel. That's amazing. Genuinely didn't think we would.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I have no clue who Pyrocynical is. I know the name, but not for any good reason.
One of the biggest commentators, but now I can't involve because he's just been too much information's coming out, and it's too much reactionary. He said, she said. I can't get involved.
Ooh.
So, yeah, go on.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah,
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's a frustrating, but the ups have been all right. Yeah, it's been good fun. Just kept busy with content as I promised I would up until Christmas. I apparently am going to a wedding on the 23rd of December. I have to travel by train to get there and walk someone down the aisle, even though I don't have a bloody suit.
Time to rent a suit.
Can't rent a suit. Not in this current day.
How do you not have a suit?
Because the last time
I have like 4.
Yeah, but I work on my computer, and I'm self-employed as a cleaner. The last time I needed one was my mum's funeral.
Yeah, but like every man should own a suit.
Oh, they should. But I have a box room, and to have a suit that I would only wear 1 or 2 times in my lifetime would be redundant.
Yeah, but it's still worth it.
True, but I also have fluctuated in size.
I
am not as big or as small. I'm going to leave that one open to interpretation as I was. I won't fit in that suit anymore because I'm not as big. And I don't have the resources to get it re-dealt with. Or pinned or whatever.
Time to start doing some intense what was that shit that was really popular in the early 2000s? CrossFit?
No, I'd have to bulk, mate. I'd have to bulk. I'm not bulking. Yeah, I'm not bulking to fit into a suit. It just means if I have to get a suit, I have to get it on the day, which is impossible. So sweatpants, anyone?
Come on, you can do better than that. I have faith in you.
Thank you, Solomon Grundy, for the £10 donation. Trump 2020. Or it could be Trump's 2020. Thank you, Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday. Very kind of you. For the generous donation.
Thank you very much.
We'll put it towards the... No, we won't. I probably won't put it towards a suit. But yeah, I've got to go to some place that will take me about 5 hours to get to go to a wedding, no reception, and then just come home.
You can go to thrift stores and buy suits, man, for like
No,
$20.
not around here. Not around here.
Uh,
It's not, and also my
I
size.
hate your country.
You've got to remember, I've also got, for my height, I've got quite short legs and big legs as well. So it's really hard to get suits for me. It's really difficult and frustrating. So it's not as simple as everyone seems to think. And I know people like to backseat, navigate, and assist here. Promise you this, I've done my bloody research already.
I know, I fucking hate your country sometimes because I can't go like fucking 2 towns without running into 4 fucking Goodwills.
Yeah, there's not much of that. I mean, there are plenty of charity shops, but they're mostly catered to women's clothes around here, especially.
Uh-huh.
It's quite strange.
Emperor Biden now. No, it would be like blood for the blood god Biden.
I don't know. He needs that blood to live.
What? Oh god, what the fuck are they? I forget what the fucking. Hang on, my brain's not working.
Which Chaos Power?
No. It's not Kyranid.
Are you thinking of
God,
some kind
it's a race. It's a race
for the greater good, perhaps?
Is it Tyranids?
The Tau.
Tyranids?
The Tower for the greater good. Tyranids are the like hive mind.
Yeah, that's Biden.
Okay, he is a hive. He's not even big enough for a hive tyrant. At best, he's a fucking he's a little oh, I can't remember what they're called. Let's just call him an anal leech.
You know.
Okay, right. So, where would you like to start today? Because it's been quite a busy week here, and I assume in your country.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's first talk about why our media is kind of having a shit fit right now, and it's not about the Texas lawsuit. That's later. The U.S. media right now is really, really pissed off at the rest of the media, and by that I mean like 4 media companies, 2 of the conservative ones,
of course,
are really pissed off at the rest of everyone because, as it turns out, Hunter Biden is under investigation.
For what?
Wow, I'm glad you asked. Possibly illegal deals and illegal operations in China. I know. This is breaking news, everyone. We had not heard about this at any point until just recently. So says the media. No, the real truth is that we knew this already. We knew this in October, in fact. Trump actually made a big deal about it. I remember because I drank a lot because of it.
You fucking did, didn't you? You
Yeah,
tried to play Smite afterwards.
No. But honestly, though, this is not news. And the fact that they're all talking about this like breaking news, we are breaking this news to you right now. Hunter Biden is under investigation by the FBI, as is Joe Biden's brother, James Biden. And we're like, oh, no way.
Imagine my shock.
I was like, wow, what evidence are you guys using for this investigation? The laptop. Oh, give me the laptop that we talked about in October. Weird.
It's a bit strange. Who would have thunk it?
Now, ordinarily, most conservative media organizations wouldn't mind getting the scoop and like be able to say, oh, well, we got to it first, so technically we have the breaking reporting on it. The problem was with the timing of the media's acceptance of this news and what happened around that news. I don't know if you remember, but there were certain large media apparatus involved in the censoring of this information.
Yeah.
Which is totally weird, right? Totally weird that they would be getting involved.
How strange. By the way, before it pops up, Moonbase Security, thank you for the $2 donation. We knew this in 2018 when ABC reported on it. Funny that, though, because I heard fuck all about it.
Yeah.
It didn't get reported on widely. Why? I wonder why. Try and work it out. Oh, by the way, we have to be a little bit careful here, don't we? because YouTube's cracking down
Yes.
on
Yes. I am
just
very well aware of how I have to phrase things.
yes. So be very careful now.
This is completely different though.
Yeah,
This is
true.
entirely not related to any suspect stealing or anything like that. Nothing like that. No. This is all about bad media reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean, this is information that the FBI is using as a basis for their investigation. In
Yeah.
fact, Tony Bobolinsky has still come out and talked about how the basically the crimes of this family have been out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is a big issue because the media intentionally did not actually report on it. There was a poll actually that was given to people who voted for Biden and Trump and asked them certain questions about them. And one of them was, did you know that Hunter Biden allegedly had some illegal contacts in China with certain businesses? And they were like, no. In fact, there's some overlap here. I believe it was about 30% did not know.
Mm-hmm.
And out of the whole poll, 40% said that if they knew about the things that were mentioned above, not just including the Hunter Biden scandal, they would not have voted for Biden.
That's a lot of bollocks. The Hunter Biden scandal shit's been going on for over a year. As
Yes,
mentioned
but
in
if you only watch
true.
one thing, then you'll never hear about
I guess
it.
that's where the issue arises now, when people start to realise that media reporting is incredibly biased, because the majority of the mainstream ones refuse to talk about this in favour of, but Trump sneezed the wrong way.
Well, I mean, you could say both sides of the media apparatus do the same kind of
True.
dick sucking
True.
for their respective
That
candidates.
is very true. I'm not denying that, by the way, in what I say, but I did say
Oh,
biased
no.
media. It's just
But it's just
frustrating.
oh, absolutely, it is. And the same way that that Fox was basically doing wall to wall coverage of it in October. I believe at that point CNN was talking about the Proud Boys.
They're busy, aren't they? I don't know much about the Proud
I
Boys.
don't know. I haven't heard.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
haven't heard.
I'm not too clued up on the Proud Boys. I don't know much about what they are, what they stand for, and I'll be honest, because, in truth, I don't care. But what are they?
They're a self-proclaimed Western chauvinist group, which, by the meaning of the word chauvinist, they basically mean that they are obsessively nationalistic. I'm sorry, I think it was patriotically nationalistic, obsessively patriotic. One of those two.
Okay.
They have a whole argument, or they have a whole article explaining what their thoughts are on their website. I
Really?
tried to send it to one of my friends on Facebook, but Facebook blocked the link, calling it a hate group.
Facebook are in shit at the moment, aren't they?
Oh yes, quite.
I'm
And
okay with this.
yeah, I'm not upset.
No, the FDC fucked this one up 10 years ago. Is it FDC? Yeah, they fucked it.
FTC.
Thank you. They fucked that
Trade
shit up.
Commission.
Yeah. They screwed it up 10 years ago, and here we
Oh, I guess you
are.
could call it the FTC as well.
Sure.
FTC would be Federal Trade. FCC would be the
I think it was
basically
the
the censorship.
I think it was the Federal
people.
Trade Commission, wasn't it? That
I
greenlit
don't
them.
know anymore. Now I'm getting confused.
Honestly, it's the who cares? FC. That's what they are. They fucked
Federal,
up.
go fuck yourself.
Yeah. They screwed up 10 years ago, and Facebook are paying the price now because most of the states are like, "Yo, fam, let's do something about this." But we're going off track.
Yeah.
Back on track. Let's go.
But yeah, so our media is now all reporting on this situation, and it's very, very bizarre to hear about how it's breaking news that we're hearing about this investigation. Now you have something very, very interesting with the with what will happen in the future. Let's say Biden gets into the White House, as he is projected to be. He said that he was going to keep his DOJ at arm's reach.
Right.
And be involved with all of their things, and basically not allow them to just go off on crazy witch hunts, and basically he wants to keep an eye on them, right? Well, the DOJ would be in charge of. But I want to stress, Biden said he will not get involved with valid investigations.
Right.
Now, what a better test of that than your son
Okay.
is being investigated for, I guess you could call it tax evasion. I'm sure there's plenty of other things that are added into it right now. The most we know about is the tax evasion because that was what Hunter Biden admitted to.
Oh, really?
Yes. As per an ongoing investigation, it is hard to get all of the charges that they are investigating.
Really?
Most of the time, when it comes to federal investigations, the final charges are usually it takes a bit until like their investigation part is done and they're ready to bring charges.
Okay.
But the tax thing is what Hunter and the transition team for Joe Biden admitted that was going on. So let's just assume tax problems, right?
Okay.
Okay, so we knew a couple of Trump people who got in trouble for some tax issues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think the odds are that Hunter Biden is going to get the same kind of treatment?
Yeah, no, this is going to get swept under the rug.
But that would go against what Joe Biden said that he would keep his DOJ accountable.
Yeah, no, he won't. I'll be honest, there are a number of things I've noticed already he is backtracking on to an extent. But I think if push comes to shove, he's going to protect his son. It's as simple as that. He's going to protect him.
I feel like Hunter did some shit, but not what Giuliani said he did on the computer. Well, fun story. Those images and those videos are actually accessible. I've seen some of them. They're bad, dude. They're bad. He did do the shit that was on the computers.
Okay.
At one point, that includes snorting a line of cocaine off of a 17-year-old's ass.
Let's just not.
Just saying.
Lovely.
And thank you, Dark Web. Thank you, Tor Network.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, all this stuff is going on, and you have a incoming administration that is linked to essentially abuse of power and basically being in the pocket of an adversary of the United States. Ironically, all the things that they complained that Trump was.
It's quite interesting, really, because with all that's going on, you're incredibly time constrained for shit to happen. Your election is one of those things with the vote casting, and if this case is against Biden goes anywhere, it has to happen soon, because it will vanish very quickly. I found that fascinating. Are you still there, Trups?
Yes, I was typing because I'm
for
anti said we need to agree we're all scumbags in the end, and I was like, yeah, okay, but I've never sniffed coke off a miner's ass. That's a league of its own, and Hunter Biden owns it.
Well, at least he owns it. Got the sniffing off his father. Okay, so
I thought that too. I'm like, wow, what is with this family and sniffing minors?
the view of Trups LP is not truly reflected by all those involved in the making of this stream series. But it kind of
if you would like context of my claims, I can provide them to you.
You know what? You saved that for your OnlyFans. Oh dear.
Indeed.
Okay. Should we stay on topic with this, or do you want me to talk about Brexit for a bit?
Well, he just says, I said spectrum. Yes, spectrum, but like there's a difference between criminally negligent and like I don't know, I make some bad jokes once in a while. Like
You make a lot
I don't know,
of
that spectrum sounds like excusing the behavior and I'm not down. I'm not down for it.
We don't do excusing behavior on this channel.
No. But yeah, so that's going on right now. That's fun. We'll see how that goes.
Okay. would you like me to talk about Brexit for a bit, or do you want to move on to...
Yes, please. I would like to hear about it.
All right. Sunday, people. Put it in your calendars. Sunday, the 13th of December. It's an important date for a couple of reasons, actually. If memory serves, your electoral college cast their votes then. I think they do. Or was it the 14th?
16th, I think.
Oh, my mistake. I thought it was the 13th. I had it reported here as the 13th. My apologies.
I might be wrong. I don't know.
Okay, well, in the UK, on Sunday the 13th, it is officially the final day that they can negotiate. And if it isn't done, no deal has to happen. Right, now this is a big deal because for months, years, I have continually said, it has to be done now, it has to be done now. And that's what we were told, but it wasn't. And it kept on being pushed back and pushed back because whenever they negotiated, they had stumbling blocks. And it always ended up Monday the 14th. Thank you, Liz, for correcting me. I do appreciate that, since you are, I believe, in one of the blue states. And when every time they came across these stumbling blocks, they agreed, we'll push it back a couple of weeks. Coronavirus has made this difficult. Sheeple crowd control's causing issues. And then Ursula von der Leyen, formerly Jean-Claude Juncker, the drunk, they would talk to Boris, and Boris would agree that there are issues, and those issues need to be resolved. Well, they agreed that this time, and that's why the talks continued. However, Boris has gone to Brussels. He's had dinner with Ursula von der Leyen. Angela Merkel is pretty much on the side of, we can still do this, even though no one really gives a fuck about what she thinks, since she is a lame duck chancellor. Instead, Macron has drawn the line, because, and I'll quote him, even if there's no deal, we're still going to fish in your waters. Norway has even jumped in and said, if there's no deal, no one gets access to our waters. And Norway, for those who don't know, have the single richest source of cod in all of Europe. They have the best. Everyone wants access to that, but they want access to ours because we have the best variety. We have all the mackerel, we have all the haddock, the pollock. We've got all the good stuff, minus the cod. Mm-hmm. Macron has drawn a line, and this has caused a problem because negotiating has continued and the lines are still there. But they're lines about our sovereignty. The EU wants to control that, thinking that they're allowed access to our laws and how we govern. The fishing, they're willing to make some big concessions, and I'd almost say yes at this point. But then I remembered, our fishing is worth 2/3 billion a year. I'll be honest.
Like it should be more.
Well, it's what they get from us, from fishing our stuff. And my view is, nah fam, that's ours. That's a big industry to plug a huge hole. And we can sell that fish to, well, you guys actually. We're still working on deals, so that's fine. But Boris Johnson has said the likelihood of no deal now is almost a certainty. They are now ramping up preparation for it because they have no choice. They have until Sunday to negotiate this deal, because then they only have 2 weeks to ratify it through Parliament. That's all they get. Mm-hmm. If they don't have it done by then, yeah, no, we leave on we have to do WTO terms. Any trade deal in place runs out when it's meant to run out. The funny thing is, people seem to think no deal means that's the end of the relationship, forgetting here that if there's no deal, it means then that the negotiating changes when we start to negotiate a new trade deal with them. It does mean, though, until a trade deal is agreed upon, yeah, there's a problem. Now, the Bank of England's taken the stance of, if there's no deal, this will do more harm to the economy than COVID, which has done £200 billion worth of damage in borrowing.
I don't think that's physically possible.
Yeah. But that's just the typical sensationalising of the Bank of England that has overstepped its... it's gone beyond its position to try and get involved in politics, which it should never do. Never. And as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather have no deal now, because the EU now, they clearly aren't willing to bend. They say they have made concessions, but their concessions will reduce our fishing quota by 20%. That still means they take over 400 million from us a year, pounds worth of fish. And I mean that in currency, not in weight, because the weight's a little bit different. the point I think is that really matters is that they clearly aren't interested in us leaving. They want to control us. And that sounds tinfoil hatty, but it is supported by every major news outlet in the United Kingdom. And they're usually on the side of the EU, except for the Daily Mail. Everyone else, usually very much pro-EU, and I'm not anymore. I don't mind the European Union, believe it or not. I don't mind it as a trade agreement. As a governing body, since people who vote in your little system know fuck all of what's going on, which has been proven true by many, many people, I'm not inclined to believe you can run an entire continent. And now we know it has to be done by Sunday or it's over. That's fantastic, because now I can make videos again knowing that this will finally be over. I'm done.
We've said that before.
I have, but they can't agree an extension now. It's gone beyond the point of return. It's either a deal or it's now very much binary.
I hope so, because I'm kind of sick and tired of it. But more or less, I'm sick and tired of the EU thinking that they are somehow entitled to the UK's things.
Yeah, fisheries, the big one.
Like, it kind of sounds like a divorce case,
Oh yeah.
There is a certain amount of money that the spouse is accustomed to have, right? And that is actually usually given to them in court. Yeah, fuck your accustomed. I don't give a shit what you're accustomed to. That was when y'all were in love and shit. This doesn't count.
Exactly.
You're not in bed together, then fuck off.
We're not here to do some kind of what do you call it when a couple break up? What does one person pay? The alimony. That's it. We're not doing alimony, okay?
That's literally what it sounds like.
And we're not going to do that. No, no court will ever rule that. And we're negotiating a deal that supersedes any of that. And so they failed. The EU have, and it'd be funny because some countries in the EU a few weeks back had started to rail on Barnier for failing in this deal, but their position of him failing was entirely predicated on the fact that they wanted everything, and he has to give ground because it's called negotiations.
You want to know something kind of funny?
Go on.
Because we're talking about the European Union, it brings it up. So I've been playing Cyberpunk, right? And as part of like the very beginning, like the world building aspect of one of the choices, one of the lines, the Corpo line, you watch the European Space Council. 3 of them get offed, and then another 3 get critically injured.
I'm okay with this
because a business just decided it.
I'm okay with this. Just keep doing it.
And I was like, I looked at that. I'm like, wait, is that the EU? And then my fiance was like, no, I don't think so. And then, yep, it was. It was the European fucking Space Commission.
I've heard of all the issues with some apparent trans issues in Cyberpunk, and I'm like,
oh, who cares?
Yeah, you're just making other people want the game more, and I mean, it's like the blind playthrough thing. That's just fucking dumb.
Oh yeah, but I just thought it was funny because a lot of games they'll like talk about like things as a like in Call of Duty they go into like a Middle Eastern country, but the Middle Eastern country isn't named Afghanistan. It's not named whatever. It's named some other fucking stan, right?
Yeah.
They're never actually like real places for the most part. Especially when it comes to we're invading another place.
Yeah.
But Cyberpunk gives no fucks, and I thought that was a very interesting, funny thing. But more or less, I think your EU is absolutely fucking stupid. I hate all of it. I hate that fucking Merkel. Has she retired yet?
She is on her way out, I believe. Her term is up in not far. I think it's like maybe a couple of years. But I'll be honest, she is. The number of coalitions in Germany, she doesn't have as much influence and power as she had when she started, because they've always had coalition governments, to be honest, but she's had to make so many coalitions and give up so much. She's just a lame duck.
Who takes over after Merkel is done?
Fuck knows. I don't give a shit about Germany. It'd be another Europhile.
No,
though.
I meant for the European chancellor position.
Oh no, she's not a European chancellor. She's the German chancellor.
Oh, then what is her fucking deal with the EU? Why the fuck does
Because
she have
is
any
the
power?
biggest Europhile, and therefore she holds the most power and most influence over other nations.
Well,
Much like
can somebody
France.
tell people the optics
Oh,
about
hang on.
Germany being
Wait,
really
Chubbs.
into making an empire?
Wait. Can't think of a clever name. Donated $5. Give that like button the lovin'. Thank you. Can't think of a clever name for donating $5 to Trups.
Thank you.
Um,
That's gonna go into.
It used to be the big three names were France, Germany, and us. The thing is, though, most European nations don't like us, even though we're not the ones that destroyed most of Europe anyway. But it doesn't matter, because we're British, and we're always a bit separate from the group, therefore not always liked. And therefore, our position, power, and privilege has always been a bit, well, ruined by prime ministers who... And everyone since Margaret Thatcher, because she's the only one that ever got anything from the EU, everyone since, so John Major, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, David Cameron, and Theresa May, all gave up powers to the EU. And you could say Theresa May didn't, but when she signed the withdrawal agreement and the joint report, right, when she signed that, she gave up more powers, negotiating powers to them. David Cameron gave up our last veto. He gave up our last actual power. A veto. He gave up the equivalent to a presidential veto. He gave it up. Because he thought he could reform the EU. Gordon Brown gave up similar powers, believe it or not. As did Tony Blair. And so did John Major. Because they all sucked dick. I'm not a fan of
EU dick, to be specific.
But the giving up the veto is the big one that pissed me off, because that's such a big power. And to give it up under some kind of... It was almost like a quid pro quo thing. Oh, I'll give you this. Right. You got to give me something back. Oh, yeah, we'll totally do that. Give me that veto. Thanks. We're giving you fuck all, mate. You can suck on our balls. All right.
But the problem is, like, okay, so you don't... so they don't come through on their quid pro quo.
Yeah.
Then what is your recourse as the UK? Well, you start pulling out of other things, but you're fucking... it's not your house. It's not the House of Lords. It's the other one.
Parliament?
Yeah, thank you. Full of pussies.
Oh, they are. They're all Europhilic pussies.
Yeah, because if you pull out of a deal and it's not mutually agreed upon, no real recourse, well, fuck you. Next time you find yourself bombing an airport in Syria, France, the U.S. and the U.K. won't show up. Have fun. Hope your planes are good. That happened, by the way.
Yeah, I figured it had.
Yeah, it was like 2017.
My view now is simply you can all get well and truly fucked. I am not interested in working with the EU anymore.
I'm
not democratic at all, so you can all get shafted.
I'm so sick of just all of the BS. Like all these, especially right now with this whole like oh god, what the fuck is it? The Great Reset that everyone seems to be on board with.
That was trending, wasn't it?
Doesn't it a while ago, like a week ago, it was trending. But like, doesn't it feel very? Did you ever see the movie Kingsman?
Yes, I did.
Okay, doesn't it feel like that? Just like all like the leaders of different countries have all gotten together with some fucking crazy dude who's like, yeah, we'll give you power when the new world order comes in.
Yeah, they're not going to give anyone power.
Oh my god, it's so fucking weird. It's almost creepy because everyone started to pay attention in the last like 5 years to how media is being given to them, right? One of the biggest examples of that was that 40-something like media clip wide montage of them all saying the exact same thing, right? It was all like basically like the way that media is being reported is in danger. And it was some 40-something news stations that all had the exact same script, and they all read it pretty much the same, and it was terrifying.
Right.
It's really creepy when I see all these leaders of the world getting together and starting to parrot the same things, almost like they don't have their own national interest at heart.
Yeah.
And that's the part that really gets to me, because if you don't have your own national interest at heart, what are you the leader of? Because if you are the leader of, let's say, France, and the leader of France is saying the same thing about the world that the leader of Norway and Germany are, well, do you have a French leader? Do you have a German leader? Do you have a Norwegian leader? Or do you have some kind of weird collective leader?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was dangerous to our democracy. Yeah, that was what it was. It weirds me out. That's why I really liked Trump. It was that it wasn't the same kind of prepackaged, mass-produced, shipped-out politician that the rest of this world seems to have in major players. You think that China is out there thinking, guys, the way that our media is being treated is dangerous to our democracy? Of course not, because communism, and two, because they kill media people who don't listen. It's really fucking it gets to me in such a way, because EU, UK, US, Canada, all these fuckers are like, yes, no, China is good. China wouldn't do anything bad. Hi, hello. Would you like to talk about Taiwan? No. No, I would not. Well, why not? Well, because money.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty
okay.
much, yeah.
Okay. So you're a shit. You're a shit, and you know it. And that's the only reason. Oh, fuck you. I hate all of you. I hate all of you fucking politicians. Every fucking, like, corporate I'm literally going to call it a corporate politician. Fucking hate him, man.
As you should. Shall we move on to the US presidential election?
Yes. Yeah, let's talk about corporate politicians.
This is going to be fun. Where do you want to
So,
start?
okay, so the U.S. election, most all Supreme Court cases have been thrown out, or they have been any appeal for an injunctive relief has been rejected, which basically means that the larger courts aren't going to do anything about it. They might still take the case, but they're not going to give you anything that you want right now to stop the system going forward. Okay, Texas said, hold on. And they filed a lawsuit. They filed a lawsuit saying that the 4 states that they found to be the most problematic, being Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, in the last year have made changes to their election process that would unconstitutionally basically give Democrats power. Now, the reason why this suit has any kind of standing whatsoever is not because of Joe Biden or Donald Trump.
Right.
It actually has to do with Kamala Harris or Mike Pence. If there is a stagnant vote in the House or the Senate, if there is a tie, the breaker of that tie is the vice president.
Okay.
Which means that, for all intents and purposes, a vice president who is cheated their way in, whichever way is possible, is basically going to disenfranchise the representation that the Texans had voted for. Because basically these people have gamed the system so that their representation does not matter by default. If that were the case, that's what they have proposed outward, right? That is essentially what they have said. Yes. we think that if the vice president is installed improperly, then Texas rights are basically being infringed upon. That's their opinion.
Okay.
40 states have decided to choose one side or the other.
Oh, I need to pull that up, don't I?
Yes.
There it is. It's up on the screen.
Yes. So, the ones in blue are the ones who are supporting Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. The ones in red are the ones supporting Texas. I did an interesting comparison to the election 2020 results, and no shit that those areas went that way. It's almost a mirror image of the same picture, minus the couple that haven't said anything. Ironically, those are red states by vote in this election. But yeah, minus New Hampshire. Sorry, New Hampshire and DC went blue. They have not outwardly said anything about it, though. So, theoretically, if all of these states were to go the same direction that they went in the electoral college, minus Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, you would have not one candidate going to getting to 270. Which would then mean that the House delegations of each represented state would send their electors based on a House vote, which would make Trump then the winner. Georgia is for Trump. Atlanta is a cesspool. I honestly don't even think that Atlanta voted for Biden. Honestly, I've been to Atlanta and a lot of different places of Atlanta, and just based on how Trump did in inner cities across the country, not in swing states, he did remarkably well. It's really weird that Atlanta and Detroit and Philadelphia decided to go against him in all those cases, as opposed to, like, I don't know, LA, New York City. Those things actually trended upwards for Trump support. So it's really weird that he would have lost at a larger margin and just so happened to be these swing states, right? It's just weird. Alaska hasn't said anything, Garrett. But I'm interested to see. I imagine they're having some COVID issues up there, actually. They're having some serious COVID issues. But the whole thing that we have right now is it's very, very strange. We have essentially states lining up to basically say that we think that this president is invalid. We don't have, like, this is now the dividing line between people who believe that we have election security and the ones who don't. That being that those 20 red states believe that this election was handled improperly.
Right.
And the blue ones saying, no, we think that this went fine. I have to ask, anything like this ever happened for you guys?
No. No. Because we don't have this we don't have a republic, we have constitutional monarchy.
Right.
So it's it's a democracy with a monarch at its head. It's not the same. And counties, which are equivalent to your states, they can't secede in the way you would want or think. It's not how this country works. Only thing that can secede is a country from the Union, and the UK government basically rules all four anyway.
Actually, there was a Texas House rep who introduced back the Lone Star State resolution to make Texas a independent nation.
And how's that working out?
I think it was more of a symbolic gesture than it was a actual measure.
That doesn't surprise me.
But I hate to bring it up because a lot of people don't agree, but here's your dividing line for the future Civil War.
People are saying that's going to happen, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Do you think there'll be a civil war? But hang on, actually, before you jump that gun, what do you think is going to happen with this? What we have on the screen here?
Okay, so the Supreme Court had asked the yellow states in question to respond by, I believe it was yesterday at 3 o'clock. They responded with a proper tell Texas to go fuck themselves.
As they should.
Yeah, I mean that's the expected response was, right?
Yeah.
Um, so the Supreme Court is now left in a little bit of a pickle because they keep getting more and more things appealed to them, and they're just not taking many of them at all in like an actual trial sense, because the Supreme Court is not a trial court. You see, the Supreme
Mm-hmm.
Court is not necessarily supposed to introduce fact finding, grant subpoenas for investigation. That's not what they do. They're an appellate court, really, or at least they are. They believe they are. I don't know necessarily if all of history of the Supreme Court was never a trial court. But like the Pennsylvania Supreme Court case,
Mm-hmm.
that one could have gone up to them and they could have done something with that, as the court had already basically gone through it. However, they kept adding more information that wasn't there in the first filing, so they were like, does this even count as an appellate court case? Not really. Fuck off. There's a lot of like red tape and like real like very detail oriented reasons why these things keep getting thrown out, and I think it's because the Supreme Court really doesn't want to have to do this.
Understandably so, to be honest.
So I don't know, because right now Trump is putting its full backing behind this too. Not to say that matters a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but if the Supreme Court doesn't take it, just tosses it away, says no, you're going to have at least 74 million people who feel as if their votes just don't matter. And they're going to think that they were disenfranchised because they didn't even get the chance to argue because no one would give them the time of day. And then the contrary is, okay, let's say 165 House GOP, actually, and not senators, just reps in general. And the other side is 80 million, allegedly, would feel like if Trump got in power, that their votes were disenfranchised, right? Even though they would have had basically everyone going to bat for them the entire time. So either way you look at it, you're going to see conflict. No one is going to be able to get over how this election resolves. At this point, it is too far gone. No matter what happens in the next month, someone's going to throw something and it's going to be bad.
Well, this is really interesting because this lawsuit has to be dealt with before the votes are cast, doesn't it?
Yes and no. So the Senate and the House actually then get all the votes back from the Electoral College, and then they certify those electoral votes on, I think it's January the 4th or the 10th, one of those, early January.
Yeah, but the votes will be cast, though, so surely that's it.
Yes, but technically they can actually overturn electoral votes in the Senate and the House. You need an agreement on both the House and the Senate to overturn a state's electoral votes, which obviously is not going to happen.
Oh, boy.
But right now, the reason why this is even being allowed to go to the Supreme Court is because it is Texas versus 4 states on a constitutional basis.
Yeah, it's mentioned in the chat, isn't it?
Yeah, which means the Supreme Court must hear it. Or at least must say something about it.
So, just for the sake of clarity, Texas's constitutional position is what?
That because Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia have done changes to their election law, that the election results can disenfranchise Texas voters.
Well, it will. I mean, if they've changed it on a state level, and it affects federal law in some way. I mean, sorry, affects the Constitution.
And the biggest rule for the constitutional basis is they believe that these changes that they've made to their election laws are in violation of the election clause, electoral clause,
I'm sure many
Article 1, Section 2.
Okay.
Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution.
Okay. So what?
And yeah, I mean that's what it looks like. That is the grounds by which Texas has brought this.
Okay. Do you think that Texas I mean, okay, so I can understand disenfranchising because so there were some memes I saw that showed that if that in 2016 Russian collusion for the next 4 years, election fraud, and then 2020 Biden wins, and with all the accusations this time, it's it's the nonchalant whistles walks away, nothing to see here kind of mentality. I find it fascinating, but so that's just a non-thing. I just wanted to say, cause do you think the Supreme Court or SCOTUS will hear this out? Will they? Where are they going to swing? Because this one's a weird one.
Depends on what is then heard in the fact finding, because this makes Supreme Court
right in the chat. Super Inhuman, hi, hope you're well. You mentioned almost like the red states only mad at the blue states. This is the first time I've ever, I mean, it may have happened before, but this is the first time I've ever heard of this happening in such a heated way. Which I find, as an Englishman, incredibly fascinating. It's not to say it hasn't happened, because you, and I'm sure many others, will know if it has happened. But if laws have been changed, and it affects things on a constitutional level, this is fascinating stuff. That's why I want to talk about it. So, I'm sure Georgia is blue. Don't care if it is or not. I'm more interested to see how this plays out, though. So, please continue.
Georgia being blue now doesn't mean Georgia is blue.
It's very close.
What I mean by that is, in a presidential election, it is all or nothing. However, if you go back, Georgia has not voted for a Democratic president since 1992.
That was Bill Clinton, wasn't it?
Yes, they voted for Bob Dole. And
really,
if you've ever looked at the election map for Georgia, a vast majority of the people in Georgia, or at least the land in which Georgia occupies, is red.
Okay, so I just want to say to that, many people point out that is the less populated areas. It's a fair point. It's such a tricky one because I get the point and I tend to agree mostly with it. But if a more densely populated area just voted blue, then it voted blue. The state doesn't mean the state is blue, though. It just means that it
just means that LA is. That's why a lot of people will say that, honestly, if you wanted to, move all your inner cities people, all of them together, really don't actually overwhelm the rest of the country. It's a lot of people. But you have to understand that there are people in Kansas, for instance, that have probably never found the need to vote. They've never felt as if Kansas was going to go blue in the last couple elections. Let's put it that way, right? They vote for their local constituencies, their local representatives, of course. And that is your biggest indicator. What?
Did Kansas go
blue?
No.
No. Kansas is red.
Okay.
But if you really want to know what the actual people are thinking, look at their House delegations, look at their House of Representatives, right?
Mm.
It's a lot easier to tell what individuals think when you go down all of the federalism act, ways to do it. Okay, so these are the states at the presidential level. Great. Okay, what about their House members? What about their Senate? And then what about their state House? What about their state Senate? What are their state legislators comprised of? You will find as you get closer and closer to someone's hometown, they are red. Unless you're in an inner city, then it's blue.
Just because it's actually a valid point. Trump won Georgia by 5.1%. This time round, the swing is so small, which is amazing.
Yes. That's why a lot of people think it's bullshit.
Well, and
according to ABC News right now, Joe Biden wins Georgia by 12,000 votes.
That is impressive. Which is why I know people then say it's a blue state. I, as an Englishman, have to say, while your results are very much it's either one or the other, I have to sit back and say, no, your state is really purple. It's really purple. And it's very arrogant for any president to come in, having won an election in that way, to then say, heal unity and I'll be a president for all states, when in reality, the device...
As an example,
the politics
right?
is too divided.
I just sent you an example, right?
Oh, okay.
I just sent you Nevada in our Discord. You tell me that's a blue state.
Hang on. Okay, so I don't know.
California.
Hang on.
California is.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Las Vegas is in the middle there, isn't it? And it's red, isn't it?
Yeah.
So who are the blue ones? The two blue districts.
I would assume it's like the Mormons. Hang on, let me look.
Oh, okay. I can't fault that. But that's. I thought Las Vegas had a higher population. A monstrous one. For those who don't know, so basically Nevada has, of all its districts, only 2 went blue and the rest are all red. Now, yes, I know a lot of it is desert. It's just really interesting because I don't know the context.
Right. If I pulled up a map of Nevada...
Reno is one. Okay, thank you, Dibula.
Yeah,
thank you. I mean, I play American Truck Simulator, and I obviously don't have it divided by districts, so I don't know.
Yeah, Reno and Vegas is actually the bottom right-hand corner.
Oh, is it?
So that little blue area? Yeah.
It's Vegas. My mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, then Vegas does have a high population. I am sorely mistaken. I think it's because I play on the game, and I think they've got it positioned a little bit further away.
Now, Carson City and Douglas, those are all those red little ones that are towards the corner. Those are all red. Which, that's closer into the California area, too, which... is another instance of interest, because if you look at California, there are very clear sections of California that are red.
We have a question for you, by the way.
Oh.
Joseph Kerwin, mispronounced your name, I do apologize. If the Supreme Court invalidates a state's vote, could the state representative still vote in alignment with the invalidated vote? That seems to be within their power. Thank you for the $5 donation. That's incredibly generous of you, Joseph.
That's a very interesting question. I think you're right. If the Supreme Court says that, let's just say we'll use Pennsylvania as an example.
Okay.
If the Pennsylvania House, all the votes, the mail-in votes, all that stuff were invalidated.
Okay. And
the Pennsylvania House legislators still voted to send their electors in for Biden, then yes, Biden would still get those electors.
Okay.
I think that the reason why they have such issue right now is because a lot of these state constitutions actually mandate the electors go in support of the majority vote.
Okay.
So they are mandated by constitution to go with whatever the state decides. So like we use Pennsylvania again. Pennsylvania went blue. So the electors must go and say blue. I don't know if Pennsylvania actually has that stipulation in their constitution. I know many states do. Okay. I know that Brian Kemp told their electors in Georgia that basically not to be a hero and vote the way you're supposed to. And I was like, ooh, that's not so good. Because that kind of sounds like do it or else.
It does a little. I'm not okay with that. When will the
No,
Supreme Court deal with the Texas then?
that's a great fucking question. So if I were to go to the Supreme Court website right now, I can look up the Texas lawsuit, and we can find out what the fuck is going on there. Texas Supreme Court. Do.
Texas is asking SCOTUS to give the vote to the legislative branch. That's interesting.
Yes, because that's technically where the election, the electors are supposed to come from in the first place.
Okay.
When you have governors and Supreme Courts, like in the case of Pennsylvania, that basically have overruled the legislature, that technically is illegal, and it is against the Constitution.
Okay.
So the Supreme Court has overruled some of the legislators' attempts to fix this problem, and they basically said no. You were either too late or you didn't sustain injury.
Yeah.
So they really kind of put him in a box, unable to really make a decision or really move forward with it. You either were not harmed or you were too late because the damage happens at that point where one flips to the other.
Right.
So that's really the biggest problem with what the Pennsylvania Supreme Court lawsuit was. It's really troublesome, and this is unprecedented in our elections, mostly because we've never actually known this, right? So it is only within the advent of the internet and this quick information that anybody would even know this information to begin with. A lot of the media the way the media interacts with the system right now is very like it's embedded in how people feel about it too. So in a perfect world where everyone in the media was purely objective, it's not possible, we know. But in that world, you would see a much different result of the election, I would say. But when you have a media apparatus that runs basically negative reporting, I believe it was the most negative reporting in history of any president, was done by the media in this term. And you have actual stories that are being objectively lied about or that are being omitted from the basically the lineup because they are inconvenient to your preferred candidate. That is that is a major problem.
Okay.
Ignoring all of the allegations of foreign interference or otherwise.
Right. Well, this makes things rather interesting for the next week, then, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, really, we have until, ironically, about till when I close on my house, uh, is when all of this will resolve.
I still think Biden's going to get sworn in, and then most people will just sweep all this under the rug, and we'll get the same
No
usual.
grounds because you haven't been damaged yet. No grounds because you're too late. It's like a game of legal shuffleboard. Joseph Kerwin, $5. Thank you for the $5. And quite right, you're right. You are. It is binary. It is either one or zero. There is no in between, and therefore you cannot satisfy the conditions that the Supreme Court has levied.
Fantastic. I'm very sorry.
Niji in the chat says, "I'm chomping at the bit to defend my freedom." You are one of many who are actually waiting for that call, right? there are people out there who believe that right now there is a hostile takeover by a compromised president, a compromised administration who is about to take control of potentially the House, the Senate, and the presidency. There are people who believe right now that is constitutionally their job to overthrow them. I don't know how to feel.
I still maintain I think Biden will be sworn in, and I think that this will all be swept under the rug. And when we're told unity,
Merry Christmas,
president, thought you'd get there eventually. Unity and healing a nation because of Trump's divisiveness. What you'll actually get is a continuation of the same politics from 4 years ago that people voted against when they voted Trump in.
Yes, except the difference is the violence that came from the left was that of a tantrum-having child.
That'll continue.
Yes. The violence that you would see from the right would be that of a 16-year-old who has, a bunch of sticks in his backyard. You're going to see people organized. It's going to be messy. It's not going to be clean, but they're going to have at least an idea about how they're going to go at it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I'm not even going to say if this were true, because as it turned out, it wasn't. But let's just say that the plot that was formulated to take control of kidnap Governor Whitmer and several other people from the Michigan legislature,
Yeah.
if that had been from right-wingers, that's kind of terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what right-wingers are actually capable of doing. The media in this country likes to say that most domestic terrorism is from the right? They're kind of seeding this information out there, so people already will think that they're terrorists, right? Very clever if they decide they want to secede from the nation. But if it were right-wingers who were planning that, that should terrify the left wing, because that means that the right wing is organized and is planning to do bad things. Versus Antifa, who they allege are just peaceful protesters.
Yeah.
You should be terrified, right? But no, they're not, which is how you know they're lying.
Just to address the chat who are wishing each other Merry Christmas, we are going to be here next week.
Yeah.
We won't be here.
I will be here next week.
I don't think we will be on Christmas Day, but we will be on the 18th.
Correct. But I will always say Merry Christmas if that is how I am addressed.
It's not the correct word. It's moistmas. You all need to get good scrubs.
Yeah, well, ever since I haven't been in the ISO cube, I haven't had to worry about that.
That can be changed.
No, I like my fireplace. Thank you.
Anyway, is there anything else you'd like to talk about this evening?
No, I think that we are good. Shit's fucked. We'll see what happens on the next episode of Moisky Live.
Ah, shit is pretty fucked up right now, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to Trups LP. His channel link is in the description down below. If you're not already, please consider subscribing here as well and smashing like. I will try and produce something next week, preferably on Monday once we know. Go subscribe definitely to Trups once we know if we're getting no deal, because if there's going to be a no deal, it'll simply be a video of me laughing for 5 minutes. Not even a
you
joke.
will always be allowed to say Merry Christmas on this channel.
Yes, so I'll just delete that comment there because it's disgusting. There we go. Thank you all for joining. We'll be back here next week, not on Christmas Day. Say goodnight, delicious Trupsy Wupsy.
Good night, delicious Trupsy Wupsy.
Things I can get you to say.